Salam everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Calling podcast. Recently in Bangladesh a movement is taking place called India Out. It's very similar to the one that happened in the Maldives. You may wonder why is Bangladeshis boycotting India? Also, what does it has to do with Islam? That is what I want to explain in today's video. I want to explain how Bangladesh went from being the most pro-India country to denouncing Indian goods in such a short period of time. Here are 10 reasons why Bangladeshis are boycotting Indian product. 1. Border killing. This is perhaps the most serious of the reasons why Bangladesh is boycotting India. Since 2000 to 2020, nearly 1,236 Bangladeshis have been mercilessly killed by Indian border guards without any valid reason. According to a human rights report, in 2010, over 900 Bangladeshi nationals have been killed by the BSF over the last decade, many of them when they crossed into Indian territory for cattle rustling or other smuggling activity. However, in several cases, we also found that Bangladeshi nationals were injured or killed due to indiscriminate firing from across the border. For instance, 13-year-old Abdur Rakib was shot as he was grazing his buffaloes near the border when a soldier opened fire. Another boy, Muhammad Omar Farik, age 15, was injured. So in other words, Indian border guards are killing Bengalis for no reason other than being near the border. Also, under international law, you're not allowed to kill unarmed civilians even if they do cross the border. You simply escort them out. Another human rights report in 2011 highlights testimonies from victims of the Indian Border Guard or BSF. It says the following. One witness who was beaten by the BSF says the following. The BSF personnel were frustrated because their suspects escaped. They surrounded the boys and, without giving any reason, started beating them with rifle butts, kicking and slapping them. There were 9 soldiers, and they beat my sons mercilessly. Even as the boys fell down, the BSF men continued to kick them ruthlessly on their chest and other sensitive organs. Krishnachandra Mandal, father of 3 boys arbitrarily beaten by the BSF. The head of the BSF, Raman Srivastava, says that people should not feel sorry for the victims, claiming that since these individuals were illegally entering Indian territory, often at night, they were not innocent and therefore were a legitimate target. Does this sound familiar? This is the same kind of excuse the IDF uses when they kill an innocent Palestinian. Oppressors always love blaming victims.
It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
As I said, in international law and Islamic law, there is no justification for killing or torturing unarmed civilians.
According to Quran 2:190, fight in the cause of Allah against those who wage war against you, but do not exceed the limits. Allah does not like transgressors. According to Ibn Kathir, this verse was never abrogated. You don't kill or torture unarmed civilians, period. You only attack aggressors. However, the most heartbreaking incident of border killing happened in the year 2011. According to an article by Dhaka Tribune, it says the following. On the morning of January 7, 2011, Fulani was returning home from India after crossing the barbed wire fence with her father near Islam at the Anantapur border in Fulbari Upazila of Kurigram. BSF member Amaya Ghosh shot Fulani as she was following her father, who crossed the border first. The teenager died on the spot. The body of the 14-year-old girl was hanging on a barbed wire fence for about 5 hours. After 2 days of flag meetings, the BSF returned the body to the BGB. Can you imagine killing a 14-year-old child, then letting her dead body rot for 5 hours, before handing her over to her parents? This is very commonplace in Bangladesh-India border. This news sent a shockwave of horror in both Bangladesh and in India. However, India even to this day don't acknowledge these killings or refuse to do anything about it. It's sick and it's disturbing. Yet in Bollywood propaganda movies these guys will be shown as heroes, played by famous actors with big muscle. Yet in real life they are mostly going around bullying, torturing or killing innocent unarmed people. Yeah, don't sound very heroic, do they? So you can only see why people of Bangladesh is fed up with Indian government and their lack of concern regarding this.
I want to make a few things clear. The people of Bangladesh have nothing against the common people of India. Indians for the most part are good people. India itself is a great country. Our issue is with the government of India and their policy towards Muslims and their neighboring countries. Speaking of Muslims, it brings me to my next point. 2. The Barbery Mosque incident. In case you guys don't know, in the year 1992, Hindu extremists from right-wing Hindu group Vishva Hindu Parishad or VHP arranged to illegally destroy a 16th-century mosque called the Barbery Mosque. It was a shocking incident that signaled to Muslims in India and abroad that they are not safe in India. Now destroying the mosque itself may not have been an issue, however the real problem came later. According to Al Jazeera on December 6, 1992, he captured the demolition of the 16th-century Barbery Mosque in Ayodhya by Hindu nationalists. The events of that day would lead to religious riots in which 2,000 mostly Muslim Indians were killed. So not only did the Indian government allow these radical Hindu terrorists destroy an ancient mosque, they also allowed nearly 2,000 Muslims to get killed. To add insult to injury, recently they completely demolished the mosque and raised a Ram temple in its place. There is no justification for this. Even if this was true, that there was a temple there once, it doesn't justify destroying a mosque. So as you can tell, Muslims in Bangladesh were not happy with this. Famous Bangladeshi Muslim speaker, Duat and Islamist Delwar Hossain Saidi made a gut-wrenching fiery speech addressing Muslims in Bangladesh after this happened. Let me play a portion of it so you guys understand why Bengali Muslims are still angry at this.
ভারতের বেয়াদব সরকার তখন বলছে বাংলাদেশের গতিবিধির উপরে আমরা কড়া নজর রাখছি। বেটা বেয়াদব, বাংলাদেশ কি তোমার ভুটান না সিকিম? ভারতের জনগণের সাথে আমাদের কোনো বিদ্বেষ নাই। তুমি একটা সরকার, তোমার হাতে রয়েছে সেনাবাহিনী, তোমার সাথে বিএসএফ, তোমার হাতে ল্যান্ড ফোর্স, এয়ার ফোর্স, সব বাহিনী তোমার হাতে। মসজিদ ভাঙে চোখের সামনে, তোমার বাহিনীর লোকেরা অস্ত্র নিয়ে দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে, একটা ফাঁকা গুলিও করলো না। মুসলমানেরা প্রতিবাদ করলো, সেই প্রতিবাদের মুখে মুসলমানদেরকে গুলি করে করে মারা হলো। কারফিউ দিয়ে পুলিশেরা মুসলমানদের ঘরে ঢুকে মুসলমানদেরকে বের করে, মুসলমানেরা আজকে তার সেখানে এতিম অবস্থায় পড়ে আছে। একটা সরকার এই দৃশ্য দেখতে পারে? মানুষের কোনো মর্যাদা তোমার কাছে নাই।
Number 3. Interference in local politics. India has a habit of interfering with local Bangladeshi politics. There has been countless accusations of local Islamic scholars being kidnapped or India trying to influence local political parties to do their bidding. There have also been many cases of Indian raw agents being caught by local police in Bangladesh. They were caught spying for India. For example, according to a local news report in 2019, it says the following: Bangladesh police have prosecuted a superintendent of police, a constable, an army soldier and a civil staff, among others, for spying for Indian External Intelligence Unit Research and Analysis Wing, better known as RAW. The police officials said they have already arrested armed police battalion constable Dev Prasad Saha, age 44, on Tuesday, while a judicial magistrate Saifuddin Hussain sent him to jail on Wednesday, setting hearing date for remand on Thursday. So you can clearly see, India has clearly infiltrated our local police, army and civilians. This is quite scary. So obviously people of Bangladesh is quite angry at this. India still have not apologized or said anything on these matters, which made the situation only worse and unacceptable. So clearly this adds to why Bangladesh is boycotting India.
Number 4. The Gujarat Massacre. In the year 2002, a massive massacre took place against Muslims of Gujarat. It was orchestrated by many Hindu terrorist groups. Just listen to this testimony of one Muslim victim and what he went through, so you'll see why Bangladeshi Muslims were angry at this.
आपने देखा था?
हाँ।
क्या देखा था?
मारा था, लोग को तलवार से मारा था, मेरे दादा को मारा था, मेरी चाची को मारा था, और है ना मेरे दादा को बचाने गए ना तो मेरे पापा की डोरी कर दी, इतनी कटी, सबको काटा था, औरत लोग को नंगा नंगा कर करके काटा था।
आपके सामने?
हाँ, और और मेरी चाची को भी धमला काट काट के काटा था और आदमी लोग को कपड़े उतार कर नहीं काटा है।
किसने किया?
वो हिंदू लोग आए थे ना।
क्या हुआ इसमें? जला है।
उसको जला दिया और इससे दो बड़े भाई इसके उनको मार डाला।
उनको पता नहीं है और उसकी माँ का भी पता अभी चला है कि
उसकी माँ का हाथ काट डाला और सिविल में
5,000 का टोला, इधर से टोला है, हम कैसे भागे एकदम?
ये हिसाब लोग से भाई कुछ जवाब नहीं, ये गली में वो गली में सब घुस गए और ऐसा पगड़े बांधे लेते, चड्डे पहने लेते, तलवार ले गए
मार के थे जान खा के थे, हमने तो देखे नहीं, बस सिर्फ ये देखा चड्डी बादली थी उनकी, बादली जर्सी और मुंह बंधा हुआ था।
किसी के लंबे टिल्ले थे, किसी ने ऐसा मुंह बंधा हुआ था, हिंदुओं ने किया।
जो उनके हाथ में आए सब कुछ किया, पुलिस के साथ में, पुलिस उनके आगे आगे पीछे टोला, पुलिस के साथ में सब कुछ चला। ये बोला इनको जाके मार डालो, पुलिस ने खुद ने किया, वहाँ तम्बू बांधेला है, शेर कोटा पुलिस स्टेशन।
भेड़ बकरियों को चकरा चलाते हैं, उस माँ भी हमारा पुलिस ने गोली चलाई है और हमारे सब जवान छोकरों पुलिस ने मारा है, पब्लिक ने नहीं मारा, एक पब्लिक ने मारा।
देखो ये छोकरे को देखो, इसको मारा,
पुलिस वाले आके मारा है और पुलिस वाले अंदर घुस गए और
इनकी भूखे प्यास से पानी पिलाओ, वो लोग पेशाब पिलाइए, पानी कैसे पिलाइए? छोटे छोटे बच्चे बूम पड़े, नीचे फेंके, ये सब आप तलवार के अंदर बुला के आग के अंदर डाले। मेरे को अभी आग खुल जाएगी तो यही नजर पे पड़ता है, पूरा खत्म कर दिया सब।
Even to this day, the victims did not see justice. Instead, many perpetrators are praised by Hindu extremists. Nearly 2,000 Muslims were killed in this terrorist attack. What's worse is that Modi was the chief minister of Gujarat at the time. That's why many people call him the butcher of Gujarat. This is why many Bengali Muslims protested when Modi came to visit Bangladesh. However, the local police shot and killed many Muslim protesters. After this horrible incident happened, a very popular Hindu nationalist leader of Shiv Sena, Bal Thackeray, said the following: Muslims are a cancer to this country. Cancer is an incurable disease. Its only cure is operation. O Hindus, take weapons in your hands and remove this cancer from your roots. This was not a one-off incident. Other Hindu nationalist leaders also said the similar things. Pravin Togadia, international president of the Vishva Hindu Parishad, VHP, said, all Hindutva opponents will get the death sentence. And Ashok Singhal, the then president of the VHP, has said that the violence in Gujarat was a successful experiment which would be repeated nationwide. So you can clearly see why Muslims of Bangladesh are angry about this. Not just because of what happened in the 2002 riot, but also because of the response of the Indian and the Bangladeshi government regarding this. Number 5. India is starving Bangladesh. This is another serious issue. Under international law, it is well recognized that you cannot block river water, especially if it will negatively affect another country. According to Article 7 of UN Convention, it says, watercourse states shall, in utilizing an international watercourse in their territories, take all appropriate measures to prevent the causing of significant harm to other watercourse states. Yet India has repeatedly ignored this and built a bunch of dams which reduced water flow in Bangladesh. This caused severe drought and lack of food in areas where they depend on river water in Bangladesh. According to TBS News, there are more than 230 rivers in Bangladesh, of which at least 57 are transboundary. Out of 57 rivers, 54 are common with neighboring India and 3 with Myanmar. 3 mighty transboundary rivers like the Ganges, the Brahmaputra and the Meghna have created the Ganges-Brahmaputra-Meghna GBM basin, and around 80% of the total floodplain of the country lies within this basin. India has unilaterally built many dams and barrages on the transboundary rivers such as Tista, Gumti, Kowai, Darla, Dudkumar, Monu, and also blocked many rivers such as Muhuri, Chagalnaya, Fulchuri, Kachu, and many others, which flow from Tripura, India to Bangladesh. According to an article by The Guardian, India plans to divert vast quantities of water from major rivers, including the Ganges and Brahmaputra, threaten the livelihoods of more than 100 million people downstream in Bangladesh, the Bangladeshi government fears. Ministers are so concerned that they are considering appealing to the United Nations to redraft international law on water sharing. The ambitious Indian plans to link major rivers flowing from the Himalayas and divert them south to drought-prone areas are still on the drawing board. But Bangladeshi government scientists estimated that even a 10% to 20% reduction in the water flow to the country could dry out great areas for much of the year. The idea of linking these rivers is very dangerous. It could affect the whole of Bangladesh and be disastrous, said Hafiz Ahmad, the Water Resources Minister. The north of Bangladesh is already drying out after the Ganges was dammed by India in 1976. Now India is planning to do the same on many of the 53 other rivers that enter the country via India. Bangladesh depends completely on water. According to an article on AA, thousands in northern Bangladesh districts, who have already been devastated by the Teesta River water control in upstream India, have begun to fear that they will endure more suffering as neighboring India plans to further divert the joint Teesta River waters. West Bengal's irrigation department has recently decided on a plan to dig 2 more canals under the Teesta barrage project to divert water for agricultural purposes, according to media reports. Muhammad Faridul Islam, 55, an activist who has been involved in the Save Teesta movement in Rangpur and a central member of the Bangladesh Environment Movement, told Anadolu that Teesta has lost its water-holding capacity and caused erosion and desertification on both banks. The river was not aggressive before the 1990s, with the establishment of dams in the Teesta River. Teesta's erosion also caused long-standing poverty in the northern region, popularly stigmatized as Manga, said Islam, adding that the situation also led to internal migration as residents started losing their homes and agricultural lands across the riverbanks every year. Manga refers to a yearly phenomenon of poverty and hunger in northern Bangladesh. So as you guys can see, India is literally starving Bangladeshis, despite Bangladesh warning them about this. This is a very serious situation, I would say. India has weaponized water against Bangladesh. Frankly, this is quite sick and disgusting, because using food and resources as weapons is against international law. Not just that, this is also against Islamic ethics. The Prophet said the food of 1 person is enough for 2, the food of 2 is enough for 4, and the food of 4 is enough for 8. Sahih Muslim 2059. Islam teaches us to share food and resources, unlike what the Hindutva fascists believe. So you guys can clearly see why many Bangladeshis are angry at India. They are literally using water as a weapon. This is the kind of thing a fascist government like Israel does. Speaking of which, it brings me to my next point. Number 6. India's shameless support for Israel and their genocide. As you guys know, right-wing Hindu nationalists love Israel. They love the fact that Israel is killing so many Muslims. Some Hindu extremist is so excited to kill Muslims that they literally want to join the IDF to kill Palestinians. Just watch these videos and see how much the right-wing India loves Israel and their genocide against the Palestinians.
The same radical jihadist Islamic terrorists thinking that Israel is a victim of, we are a victim of as well. Israel is fighting this war on behalf of all of us. Israel is fighting this war for you and me.
So yeah, Bangladeshi Muslims or any person with decency is quite sickened by this. So again, this adds to why Bangladesh is boycotting India. Number 7. Spreading Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hatred. If you guys haven't noticed, India has become quite Islamophobic. Remember that piece of shit Hindu nationalist leader, Bal Thackeray? Well, he did an interview where he said how much he loved Hitler. He said in Asia Week, "I am a great admirer of Hitler, and I am not ashamed to say so. I do not say that I agree with all the methods he employed, but he was a wonderful organizer and orator, and I feel that he and I have several things in common. What India really needs is a dictator who will rule benevolently, but with an iron hand." If you find that disturbing, you should also know that this guy is a highly celebrated leader in India. He was so popular that they even made a movie out of his life named Thackeray. He was played by a Muslim actor of all people. Anyway, he also said the following. In a 1993 interview, Thackeray stated, "There is nothing wrong if Muslims are treated as Jews were in Nazi Germany." In another 1992 interview, Thackeray stated, "If you take Mein Kampf and if you remove the word Jew and put in the word Muslim, that is what I believe in." In Rajasthan, a VHP or Bajrang Dal Hindu nationalist leader said Muslims are enemies of Hindus and that he loves Hitler.
पहला दुश्मन कौन है? ईसाईयत. दूसरा मुसलमान. 5 लाख मदरसे हैं इनके, कितने? 5 लाख, 3.5 लाख मस्जिदें। इनका उद्देश्य है इसके लिए पाकिस्तान लड़के लेंगे हिंदुस्तान। हिटलर, नाम सुना हिटलर का? जर्मनी का शासक हिटलर, वो कहता था कि दुनिया में सर्वश्रेष्ठ जाति यदि कोई है तो वो है हिंदू।
Another Hindu Bhakt says he wants to kill Muslims but is waiting for the right moment.
मैं तो इन मुसलमानों को देखता हूं तो मन करता बस अभी मार दूं सालों को, पर भाइयों थोड़ी पावर नहीं है, ठीक है, और सही समय का इंतजार कर रहा हूं। देखते हैं कब हमारा समय आएगा, कब मैं बस जब समय आएगा जब तो बस आप भूल ही जाओ, इतनी दर्दनाक मौत मारूंगा इन्होंने कभी सोची ना होगी।
Another VHP Hindu nationalist leader says he will kill Muslims if they pray. Please note these guys are in power in India for near 10 years. These people are no different than the Zionists in Israel or other fascists like the Nazis. They both want to kill Muslims. They are both genocidal. They both have committed large-scale massacre and terrorist attack against Muslims and wants to kill Muslims. Naturally, Bangladesh being a Muslim-majority country, we are quite sickened by this. So this is another reason why Bangladesh is boycotting India, and frankly, you should boycott them too.
Salam everyone. Thank you guys for watching the video. I actually had more points to add, such as the issue regarding Kashmir and the shameless Islamophobic propaganda of Bollywood, etc. However, those issues are so big that the video would be too big. So inshallah, I'll make separate videos on them. If you guys like the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click bell icon for more. I'll see you guys next time, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.